Oasis Audio presents Don't Tell Anyone You're Reading This by Lina AbuJamra, MD, read for you by the author. Dedication. To my nieces and nephews. I'm hoping they're brave enough to read it. Introduction. Don't skip this. Birds do it, bees do it, even educated fleas do it. Ella Fitzgerald. There are at least 3 ways Christians think about sex these days. There's the prudish perspective. You're the folks who were discipled in the 80s. You have black and white notions about sex. You would never be caught watching that movie or TV show that everyone is talking about. You would never allow yourself to read that trashy book and would never click on that website. Most of you are married and have occasional sex, and when you do, it's not that exciting. You're used to blaming your spouse for your bedroom stats. Most of you are white, saved by the blood, and transformed forever. You have a Bible verse for every problem in life that you're quick to hand out to anyone you think is bleeding. You're never going to admit to reading this book, but might make an extra effort to give it a 1-star review on Amazon, just in case anyone else is tempted to read it. Nice to meet you. Then there's the millennial and younger perspective. You're much more avant-garde and hipster in your approach to sex. You're not quite a hedonist because you're a Christian after all. But God forbid you be described as prudish. You started elementary school around the time Steve Jobs dropped the first iPhone into the world. You grew up in a culture where sex and nudity have become the norm. Your access to X-rated content is 1 click away, and you're rolling your eyes at me right now. I mean, who needs yet another Christian book about sex, especially one written by a Christian author who is a 50-year-old virgin at that? Gulp. You are certain I'm about to embarrass myself and regurgitate a list of archaic do's and don'ts into the world. You're not even convinced that the list I'll share is in the Bible anyway. Swipe left, move on. But before you do, let me be clear about one thing. I'm also the doctor you'll be calling when you need your Plan B and birth control pills refilled and when you're freaking out about that rash on your penis. It's okay. I'm not one to hold on to grudges. Plus, there are a couple of things you and I have in common. We share an extreme comfort talking about sex and a deep sense of compassion for sexual minorities. And we've both seen it all. So sit tight. You might actually like what I have to say. Wink emoji. And then there's the rest of us. We are not a category. We are not a specific age group or a demographic. We are normal Christians who never in a million years thought we'd still be wrestling with our sex lives. We are men and women who have experienced the awesome love of Jesus and received him into our hearts with abandon. We committed to following him. We read our Bibles and pray. We go to church and have Christian friends. We want to do right. We long to be more holy. Yet here we are 5, 10, or 15 years into our Christian walk, and for the life of us, we can't figure out why we keep failing in this one area of our lives. We utterly hate that we still do what we hate. We know right from wrong and want to do right, but instead we are tired, broken, and maybe even cynical about change after all these years. Oh, we have our good days, but our bad days are still far too common and repetitive. And our worst nightmare is that we be found out. We hate hypocrisy, yet we are living 2 lives. We hang on to the truth that God does remove our sins as far as the east is from the west, but lately, we're not even sure about that anymore. We feel we've overplayed our hand. We're not sure that change, at least for us, is possible. We are weary from the battle inside us and we long to be free. We are the church. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of failing in my private life. I'm sick of worrying that if I don't get this right, my story will become a public debacle. I don't want a public reckoning of my sin. I just really want to change. I want to experience victory in my private life. I decided to write this book one morning in January as I was scrolling through Instagram and landed on the news that yet another relatively famous Christian leader had been fired for moral failure. The details were uncannily similar. The only difference was that this time, I actually knew this worship leader. I had sat under his worship leading while attending a megachurch and serving on their staff. I had been deeply moved by his songs. I had watched him become the heart of our church's worship band. Most people who had been at the church for a decade or more were very well aware that this man had had a lapse in his moral journey when he was young and single. He was asked to leave his job as new worship leader back then, and 2 years later, he was repentant, forgiven, and reinstated. He then happily married and lived ever after. Or
Sample complete. Ready to continue?